My name's Brahmachari Jemal, and I live in Lonavala or Khandala. Those two are really close together. Right in between Pune and Mumbai, we have a monastery there. And during the weekdays, we serve people by teaching them meditation online. And we have a very disciplined, structured schedule there where we meditate and serve. And then on the weekends, we get on the plane or in the car and go to Mumbai and Pune, and we serve outwardly in this manner. I'm very happy to be here in Delhi. You know, there's only a few people who have been with Ananda India longer than I have, and two of those people are Daya and Keshava. When I first came to Ananda India, Daya put me right to work. I think before we could even say, hi, who are you? Hey, we need to do this and this. And I've been forever grateful because it's a real honor, it's a blessing for us to be able to serve the Guru. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is seva, work, what our duty is. And the topic is how to find one's own duty. Apna dharma, your own duty. How do you find this? And so the first operative word in this is find, that I want to talk about. Because if we just sit around all day long complaining and whining, oh, why me? I never get anywhere. Why does he have all this opportunity? That's all we're going to get from life, is a lot of other people around us who are whining and complaining. But if we really decide that we want to find some duty in life that really gives us joy, that really makes us happy, where we feel content by doing that work, then we will find it. But we have to put energy into that. It's not a passive thing at all. And we need to not be afraid to fail. That Swami Kriyanandaji's mother used to say, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing badly. And when I first heard that, Swami, that's not the saying. That it's worth doing well. But Swamiji's mother, when she was young, played the violin very well. And then she was in some accident and broke her finger, or fingers, I don't know. And then she couldn't hold the bow properly. But she still liked to play the violin. And so that's why she said that she still wanted to get the joy out of playing that violin. But it's something worth considering in life. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That all of the great people in life, they've made many mistakes. But they just get up and they try again. And that attitude is more important, of being able to get up and try again, rather than thinking, oh, I've failed, now nobody will think that I'm capable of doing this or that. That we all fail. That God set this up so that we fail. But He just looks, is this person going to get up again and try again? So we have to put energy into finding what is the right thing for us. And don't be afraid, put lots of energy into it. Try lots of different things. That Master said, try to learn one new thing every day. And rather than just get stuck into habits, and people can become psychological antiques, and they just get habits going on and they do the same thing, and the world around us has changed drastically, and we need to keep up with the world and relate to it. I met a man in America who, strange profession, but he was a mortician and did embalming, and he did this because when he was a young man there was no other job available, and he had a daughter and he just needed to take anything he could to take care of his daughter. But he was a man of high energy, and he put a lot of energy into it, and he succeeded, and he had a huge business going, and it was great. He had many different mortuaries, fine. When he was 40 years old, you know what he was doing as a mortician? People would come in and he was counseling people. They were grieving, and he was saying, oh, it will be okay, don't worry. And he thought, I should be counseling people. At 40 years old, he went back to college, spent 2 or 3 years, got a degree in psychology, and then from age 40, I think, until 65, 70, I don't know the exact deal, but he put another 20, 30 years into a profession that he really wanted to do. Can you imagine being in college, all these 20-year-olds around you, you're 40 years old? But he did it, and he enjoyed the rest of his life, and he felt very successful at the end. So we can do that if we're willing to put energy. And don't, another word in here is your own. That one saint that I know, he said that we're born originals and we die carbon copies. I think I said that in the last satsang that I was here. I'm having deja vu. But that you need to find what's yours. Don't just look around and, well, my friend wants to be a doctor and my parents think I should be a doctor. I'll be a doctor, but I hate it. And then this guy over here, he's smiling every day and he's saying, every day can be a vacation if you love your job. And you're looking and thinking, oh, is that true? It is true. Every day can be a vacation if you love your job. But if you find someone with that amount of joy, that joy comes from finding God. And at the end, we'll talk about the highest thing that we need to be doing, our Everyone's dharma is finding God. But right now I want to concentrate on that aspect, that joy that that person would have because he was doing his dharma, his own dharma. And now how do you know, is it my dharma, is it not? That you have to learn to meditate. You have to become more sensitive. And in the beginning I wasn't sensitive at all, that I couldn't feel any of this subtle energy, these vibrations. I didn't know, were these people half crazy? What are they talking about here? But maybe you're already more sensitive than I was at the beginning of this incarnation, and you can feel these things. But whether you can or not, you must develop yourself. But if you practice Kriya Yoga, if you practice the energization exercises, you'll get a stronger flow of energy going, and then even if you're dull like me, that stronger flow, you'll be able to feel it. And why do we need to be able to feel it? So that we can learn to listen sensitively in the heart for what it is that God wants us to be doing. That this is the broadcasting station up here, and we ask God, and we need to ask Him directly. Sometimes just, put it just like this, that God, what do you want me to do right now? Don't be afraid. You can talk to Him like that. He's your best friend. That He's not going to say, oh, you didn't approach me properly. Now you must have 3 years of bad karma. And that He's not like that. He loves you. He loves you more than anybody you could ever imagine. You can talk to Him however you want. You can even yell at Him. He likes that because you're thinking of Him. This whole game is, are we thinking of God? Is our mind wandering? So ask Him. Ask from here. Ask powerfully. If you go into a shop and you say, I think I want this kind of orange. No, apple juice. No, really, do you have milk? The shop, what do you want? Just tell me, what is it that you want? And it's the same way with our prayers, that we're saying, well, I think I want this job, but I don't know. My mom says I should have this. My dad says I should have this. And, but really I'm happy like this. Let's get inside. Let's practice the techniques. Let's get very quiet. Let's send a direct prayer to God. God, exactly what is it that you want me to be doing right now in this moment? And you can send the short-term prayers and the long-term. Long-term, God, what is it that you want me to be doing? Send it direct. Then very quiet. Listen. If your breath is quiet because you've been practicing Hong Sa, your mind will be quiet, your heart will be quiet, you'll be able to listen, you'll be able to hear. God wants to help you. He wants to guide you exactly what you should be doing. I had a very interesting experience in that movie, The Answer, which probably all of you saw. I said it last night, but that I was praying for everyone in the theater, and for a brief glimpse, just a moment, had this feeling in my heart that I want everyone in this theater to just be filled with divine love, to know how much God loves them. I want everyone in this theater to be filled with absolute perfect joy and peace. And for that brief moment, I felt this is what it feels like to be God. That God wants us all to have that perfect joy. He didn't put us down here to suffer. He put us here so that we can learn and grow and live wonderful, magnificent lives full of joy. But we have to be tuning in. But in that brief moment, in that movie, The Answer, I felt that if I would receive Him, that if I was listening to God, I could climb right out of this maze just very quickly. He'd show me the exact steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, free. But instead I take 1, 2, oh, well, but I really like that. And okay, I'm coming, God, but first let me eat that sandwich. And, well, okay, and then we get to eat the sandwich. But it made me want to get even more in tune with God, to be able to calm my heart even more so that I could listen. So how will you know your own duty? You'll know if you get in there and you learn to listen. Learn to listen very sensitively and keep listening and ask Him first in the small things. And it's okay if you make mistakes in the small things, but then you'll know what that voice, what it feels like. And He'll talk to you in your own unique way, and you'll feel it, and you'll know exactly what you're supposed to do. And then life becomes joy. It becomes so much fun. So, now let's get to this word duty, how to know your word duty. That sometimes that sounds like a scary word, and it sounds like I have to do this, that it's what God has imposed on me, or it's what my parents or the boss above in the corporation I work for, it's what I have to do. But don't approach the word duty like that. Approach it with a sense of joy, and approach it with what is your next step for you to grow spiritually. And speaking of that spiritually, that it's written in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not going to get into that. But the point here that I want to make is we might be really good at something, say acting. Let's say in our past lives we were a great, great actor. Maybe many incarnations we've just been honing that craft and we're very good at it. And so in this incarnation, maybe we kind of have a little bit of tendency to start doing that. People say, you're so good at this, you'll make it all the way to the top. But it might not be our duty, our dharma. It might, because spiritually speaking, maybe we have some vritti still inside that wants fame. Or maybe being an actor is going to inflame our ego and we'll think, I'm so good at this. And maybe we even feel that, yes, we're good at it, but we're just simply done with it. That we graduated from that in some past incarnation and now we're good at it. So if you're good at something, that doesn't necessarily mean that's your duty in this lifetime. It might just mean you've already graduated from that, and why recreate it? And taking this actor example, if it is going to inflame that desire within you for fame, then you're creating more karma that didn't need to be created, and then you're going to have to work that out in the next lifetime. So one factor that we can kind of look at to know, is it my own duty, is does it feel right on the inside? Is it bringing me more peace and contentment? Does this really feel that it's the right thing that I'm supposed to be doing? And that doesn't mean that, it feels easy. That real peace comes from a battle that is well fought and won, where you took everything that you have, all of your willpower, all of your intellect, all of your emotional centeredness, and you give it everything you have alongside with God's power, and it's hard, but you win. After that you feel, that I have done my absolute best, a job well done, and it's easier to relax after that. So your own duty doesn't mean something that's necessarily easy. It might be very difficult, but you'll have this little feeling inside, this is mine. This is what God intended me to do. Another thing that I want to share with you this morning, once I was confused of what should I do in this incarnation, and Swami Kriyanandaji had asked me to do this work on a solar project, and I just kind of was feeling that work was over, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to please him. And so I wrote him an email, and I asked him, should I continue on with this project? And Swamiji wrote back 3 specific things to me. But I'm telling you them this morning because they apply to everyone. And the first thing that he said was, your first duty in life is to find God. And I've never forgotten that. And that's your first duty too. And if you prioritize your life, everything will fall in line and go the way that it's supposed to go. Sister Gyanamata used to say, first things first. And you can always make it that the purpose, your highest duty in this life, is to find God. And don't be afraid of that. Don't shy away from it. Put energy into that. The second thing that Swami Kriyananda wrote in that was, whatever you find along the path, along the journey, share with others. And so, no matter how deeply you meditate or whatever spiritual growth you get, we don't get there all in one leap. We don't just sit down and suddenly one day launch off into samadhi. That slowly we start climbing that ladder of Patanjali and mastering pranayam, mastering asana, learning how to sit still, and pratyahara. And more that develops. But as you start developing spiritual insights, you have to give those away. You will not grow if you do not give that the channel is blessed by that which flows through it. And so whatever you learn, figure out some way, and it's your way. It's your own duty, your own dharma. It doesn't have to be through the official channels that we have at Ananda. If you can help with those, great. But otherwise, help people. Teach them how to get still. Teach them the power of kindness. And you will teach them in the highest way by your own example. Anyways, that was number 2. Share with others what you have learned. Number 3 on that was, and then he said, if you're not doing it with the solar project, fine, but we must find a way to keep building Ananda. That because we have to make a place where people can do number 1 and where they can do number 2 of find God and help others find God. And so serving some form, if it's this structure for you, fine. If it's some other structure, fine. That's between you and God. But you have to find some way to serve so that you can help other people do number 1 and number 2. So I've dedicated my entire incarnation to those 3 things and tuning in. But here's another important point on how to find one's own duty. And that is, we can't sometimes figure it out on our own. We need to every day get quiet in meditation and ask God and tune in. But it is very, very helpful to have someone who is a saint, who knows the truth. And you can go to that person and ask them, what is my duty? And a saint won't be telling you, oh, come work for me. That he doesn't care about that. That a saint is one with God. And a saint can look at all your past incarnations and then look into the future also and adjust your karma and help you and see exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So if you've had the good fortune to meet a saint in this lifetime, nothing like it. Use them. They want that. That once I was afraid I was praying to Swami Kriyananda too much, and I thought, if he can read all of our thoughts, that I must just be annoying the heck out of this guy. And a different saint said, no, that's his job. He likes that, and that you have to keep praying to him. And so tune in to whatever saint that you know. Ask them. If you don't know any saints, go to someone who is emotionally calm and centered. And they at least will have some degree of wisdom and some degree of mental clarity, and they can help look at your life, and they will be able to guide you into what is the right thing. And so we all need that guidance, that it's important. You can't get there on your own. I think you all watched the movie The Answer, when Oliver Black, for some reason, he was bogging down and he didn't know why. And you can climb very, very high, but God made this, that the only way out is through a guru. That you cannot, it's just one of the laws that he put into it. And so at the end, we have to find someone who is truly wise, and we have to learn how to offer ourselves to those people. So the last thing, I need to wrap up here, and we'll have an arati and we'll have a blessing. But this is just a really important point. I've already alluded to it, but that there has to be joy. That whatever you're doing, always kind of step back at the end of the day, analyze your day. How did it go? And ask yourself, did this particular duty that I'm doing, did it bring me joy? Because it should be giving you an expansive feeling, a feeling of freedom, that something's really going wrong on the spiritual path if it's not giving us joy. You must have read in the autobiography of a yogi where Master says, a sad saint is a sad saint indeed. And what that means is that if someone is sad like this, then he's no good. He's not a good saint. But even if we're walking the spiritual path, that if we're sad, something's off. And it's time for us to go within and ask and figure it out, because our duty should be giving not only a little bit of joy, but an ever-expanding sense of joy. And don't blame the world around you, well, it's this guy's fault. No. At the end, we always need to come back, and we need to say, where did I go wrong here? And always put the burden, the onus on yourself, and ask, where did I go wrong? And if you fix yourself, the world around you magically changes, and everybody's there, and they want to help you, and they want to support you. But if you flip-flop that and you're thinking it's always these guys' fault, and of course I'm so perfect, if only everybody would be like me, and then we'd have a happy world, you'll live in your own self-created little misery bubble, and we've had enough of that. We can get out of that. We can graduate from that. So also, you need to feel a sense of freedom, that really you are eternally free. I guess I'll bring this up. I'm not sure why, but here we go. Last night someone was asking about time and how is it that we really get free, and really intellectually trying to understand. And I didn't have time last night to tell this story, but I believe it was from a great saint named Chaitanya. And that he was with his guru, and the guru, I might have the name of the person wrong, but the guru was telling people, oh, you'll achieve liberation in 3 incarnations. Oh, you'll achieve liberation in 1 incarnation. And, oh, what about me? Okay, like that was again in the Answer movie. You'll achieve liberation in this many incarnations. And someone told Chaitanya, what? Ask him, how many? Because Chaitanya was a great disciple in this ashram, and so, okay. And then that master said, oh, for you, it's going to take you 1 million incarnations. Nobody asked anymore after, Oh no, nobody wanted that. And Chaitanya, the whole audience just kind of got a little quiet. And Chaitanya just slowly walked out the door, and everybody's quiet thinking, oh, poor, and he looked like one of the best disciples. You never know what's going on in this game of self-realization. And so then one disciple there thought, well, he must be feeling really bad. I should just go outside, and I should just comfort him at least and tell him, it's not that bad. He was thinking, how am I going to make 1,000,000 incarnations not sound that bad? And he goes outside, and he sees Chaitanya. He's just dancing in joy and joy. And the guy's thinking, maybe he didn't hear properly. He said 1,000,000. And he said, why? Are you okay? He thought maybe he'd emotionally lost it or something. Are you okay? And Chaitanya says, did you hear? Did you hear? He said that I would achieve liberation. The Guru gave me the promise that I would achieve liberation. And at that moment, the Guru came out and he said, this is the measure of a true disciple. Not mattering, is it going to take this long or that long? And at that moment, he tapped him on the chest and he went into samadhi. You see, time has nothing to do with it. Time is a delusion that we're thinking that, oh, I'll get there when I put in this amount of effort. Oh, I'll be happy once I achieve this. Be happy now. Feel that sense of expanding joy and that sense of expanding freedom right now. Otherwise, Master said, otherwise you're no good. And who wants to be no good? We want to be very good. We want to be feeling that joy. So don't bind yourself by time, thinking that I'll achieve freedom. I'll have this sense of freedom once I do this, this, and this in my duty. Your highest duty is to find God. God is joy. God is that sense of so much freedom. And in the beginning, that I didn't even think that was possible. I just knew I wanted something different. That I looked around and what most people had, I didn't want. That the world just didn't really seem to be working for me. And I didn't know if 100% inner freedom and this 100% inner joy that was unshakable and could never be taken away. I didn't know if that was possible. But then I went to the ashram and I started meeting people. They had it all the time. And their eyes, they were sparkling. And it wasn't what they said outwardly. It was how they lived their lives. But I said, he has it. He can make it. This is possible. I at least can try. I can put one foot in front of the other. I can uphold my vow to practice Kriya Yoga every day, no matter what happens. And that if nothing else, I can just keep trying. And it might take 10 incarnations. It might happen in the next moment. Doesn't matter. That all I know is that I give myself to God. And I try in every moment to give myself deeper and better. And it's in that trying, it's in that sense of self-offering. It's said that God sneaks in like a thief in the night through the back door, and you suddenly don't know where this joy came from. That it's a joy that it's not like this worldly joy that has a cause and effect. It's a joy that just suddenly starts bubbling up out of everywhere, nowhere. It's all around you. And the mind wants to say, now, I did this many kriyas, and then I sat in silence for this many minutes, and I definitely ended with a good healing prayer. Maybe that's why I have this joy. But it's not like that. It's not conditional. That it's always there. It doesn't matter what you do. You can live in that sense. It's a mental understanding. It's a freedom in the heart. And you can live in that state all of the time. But don't hold on to it for yourself. Once you start getting some of that, start sharing it more and more. Give that joy, and you will realize that you've always been ever new, ever perfect joy, and that that's your highest dharma. To remember that. Thank you so much. So we'll have an arati now.